Hello, everyone. My name is Ankush from Team 18221 Meta Infinity in Trumbull, Connecticut.
Hello, my name is Yashis from Team 18221, and welcome back to today's episode of Metacast.
Today, we are joined by a member of Team 11468, the Ohm Raiders, Eric.
Today, we are going to be going over an introduction to the engineering portfolio for teams in the FTC competition.
Eric, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Alright, thank you for joining us today, Eric, and we have a bunch of questions regarding FTC engineering portfolios to help out those rookie teams and even some new returning teams that might struggle with the engineering portfolio. So to start, for a little bit of an introduction to portfolios, can you just provide a brief overview of what a portfolio is and what its significance is during the FTC competition?
Yeah. So first defines the engineering portfolio in the judge manual they release every year. They define it as a short and concise summary of a team's accomplishments over the season. And this information comes from the team's engineering notebook. The engineering notebook should include sample sketches, discussions, team meetings, design evolution, processes, obstacles, goals, and plans to learn new skills. So basically, it's just a document with all of your team's goals, successes, and like what you've done over the season. So it includes everything from mechanical, non-tech, outreach, etc.
It's really interesting how to organize your portfolio. Okay, so now moving into the strategic planning of this. So, how do teams approach the planning process when developing their portfolios?
Yeah. So I think that having much time before your competition is really good idea. So we start around 2 weeks before our competition, or even more. So just how we have time to fine tune things in the portfolio, and we have more time to spare for our robot. So you should also make your outline of the portfolio. So your portfolio consists of 15 pages max, and then a cover page, so 16 pages total. And an example outline from last year, our portfolio had 2 pages of introduction, which included our sustainability, mentors, and our mission values. And then we had 5 pages of outreach, which included all of our outreach, such as technical, in-state, and other outreaches. And then we had 5 pages of the design, and that leaves us with 3 pages of software.
Fascinating. And in your opinion, what considerations should teams keep in mind when deciding what they should have in their portfolios?
So yeah, you should try to include everything in your portfolio, but things that you can include in your engineering notebook. Not all teams have an engineering notebook, but basically anything that you can't fit into your portfolio should go into the engineering notebook. And normally for the portfolio, it's only major things, and anything that dives into deeper detail should go into the notebook.
Yeah, definitely. The engineering notebook is a great tool for teams to utilize if they want to convey more information that they can't convey throughout their engineering portfolio. So next up, what do you think the common mistakes that teams should be cautious about when creating their portfolios are?
A common mistake that I see a lot is having too much text. So you shouldn't have a good balance between pictures and text. If you have a lot of text, your judges will not have enough time to read that, and they'll just gloss over it, or they won't be able to read it all. So having a good balance between the images, and images also include good insight. Um, Also, another mistake I see is not using all 15 pages. They give you 15 pages, so yeah, I believe that you should use all 15 pages. And if you don't have enough information to fit all 15 pages, that's fine, but it's highly recommended.
Yeah, it's definitely important to watch out for these common mistakes that come up. And now, what should be included in these portfolios? In your opinion, what kind of content should teams have?
Yeah, so really important things. Uh, all of the things that should be included in portfolio are highlighted in the judge manual. So going by the judge manual is a judge manual is a very good tool for basing your portfolio off of. It includes criteria and things you should include in your portfolio to be eligible for these awards. So, for example, in your introduction, having values and missions, sustainability, and also how team structure works is very important. And we also like to include funding and sponsors, and also mentors and how we recruit mentors. And that's just some part of the introduction. And for outreach, we like to include an overview page that has just some numbers and stuff we've done throughout the year. And we also like to include goals for outreach in this section. And we like to split our portfolio into 3 different sections. So we have STEM and outreach, and then we have outreach within our state that relates to community service outside of STEM, and also technical outreach or international outreach if we have that. But most teams will not have as much international outreach, so you can realize with technical or any other time of outreach. And then for the robot, it is very crucial to have a design process page, as the judges can see how you went from having nothing to building your robot that you brought to competition. And also for design, at least, or not for software, I like them to limit to 1 or 2 pages. So because you have a separate control award submission. So control award submission should include a bulk of your programming, but including a page or 2 on software in your portfolio does not hurt, and it actually helps a little. So what we like to do is have autonomous stuff like navigation and basic code structure and how we control these subsystems in our robot.
Definitely. Next up, how do you think teams should effectively showcase their robot design, programming, and outreach efforts in the portfolio? You mentioned splitting everything up into different categories, but how do you really bold those impacts that teams have on the community?
Yeah, so a good way to showcase your robot design is, of course, just show the processes of how you went from having nothing into your robot that you have today. So that's very important. And also showing things that you think are unique in your robot is very good. So for example, if you think modularity, or you have a favorite subsystem that you like and you think is very unique within your region, you can highlight that in your portfolio. And also in programming, many teams highlight such camera vision, because or innovative camera vision solutions such as localizing off of camera vision with this year's April tags, and also having localization is a big thing. And sometimes people have advanced algorithms such as the Kalman filters and other growth theory stuff that have for programming. And for outreach, I think just include everything. But that doesn't hurt to include anything. But in outreach, you should include your main points and big initiatives. Judges like to see big things instead of many little things, from what I've seen. So that's what I like to include.
Yeah, so now looking into the integration, or sorry, no, how we want to see how we display one's programming and innovation throughout the year. In what ways can teams highlight their programming achievements in the portfolios?
Right. So some teams like to include screenshots of if there's a block code or any Java code that they have, but also putting formulas and any type of math they do in their portfolio helps a lot. And also having free body diagrams of the robot helps, such as having for localization. And also having simple things such as just if you have odometry, having a picture of odometry pods and stuff like that. And also it's important to include driver assistance, so things that you have in your program that help drivers in the teleop mode is also important.
It's very interesting how you can include physics and math and just highlight those parts. And are there specific elements that the judges often look for when assessing the programming aspects in portfolios?
Judges will look at anything specifically, but they will it doesn't hurt to include everything. So they will look over everything, and there's nothing that's specific that judges will look for.
Great. Um, Obviously, you should be including everything that you have achieved in your season in their portfolios. You shouldn't really be trying to game the system and look for what judges often look for, because that doesn't really exist. Next up, with outreach and community impact. How do teams effectively communicate their outreach efforts and community impact in their portfolios with a minimum amount of pages?
Yeah, so a lot of people like to include numbers. I think that having numbers is important, but you should also include how you affected like the community or the group of people that you helped. So having numbers is important, but the impact, like showcasing impact and how you changed the communities that you've impacted for the better, is something that you should highlight when discussing outreach. And community service wise, same thing with the outreach. So impact things that you've done to impact the community positively. So yeah.
So now to the struggles that teams go through throughout the year being displayed in the portfolio, can you discuss how teams can address the challenges or setbacks they put in their portfolios?
Yeah. So I think including your setbacks or challenges and how you solve those challenges in your portfolio is very important. So a good example of this is including it in your design process. So explaining why you chose this solution instead of another is important. So basically, let's say for example, you chose a slide system over an ARM system. You should explain why and if any challenges you had integrating these systems. So that's one way you can do that. And also addressing setbacks with time is also important, because having limited time as a team is very important. But you should highlight any struggles that you have in your portfolio and how you solve them.
Yeah, definitely. And then finally, something on the judges' side. How do you think teams should make their portfolio stand out and leave their lasting impression on the judges? Like, do you think there's some design aspects they should consider, like using Canva or a certain design theme so that their portfolio looks the same the entire time? Or is it something different, just more about in the content of the portfolio?
Yeah. So aesthetics are important, but content always comes first. After you have all your content, and a big thing I think that teams look over is spelling and grammar mistakes. Having spelling and grammar mistakes, judges will look for that. But if the judges can pick out the mistakes, that's not very good. So having correct grammar and good spelling is important. And also, judges will look over your whole portfolio. So there's nothing like specific that they will look for. And just have a good looking having a good look portfolio helps, but if your content's there, then the judges will recognize that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eric, for joining us today. I hope you and Ohm Robotics have a great season.
And thank you everyone for tuning into this episode of Metacast. And I hope you all have a great day. Tune into more next week.